Can a state prohibit interracial marriage? To find out, you have to read Loving v. Virginia. But it's 5 pages. Don't have time for that? I've got you covered. This is TLDR, where I normally cover New York Court of Appeals cases in 5 minutes or less. But this is part of a special series I'm doing on landmark cases. This is the episode on the case of Loving versus Virginia, with a citation of 388 U.S. 1, published by the United States Supreme Court on June 12, 1967. The issue in this case is whether a state can constitutionally ban interracial marriage. Now, to understand this case, it's important to know a little about the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. The Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment guarantees that all citizens are treated equally, unless there's a legitimate compelling reason to do so. The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment prohibits states from denying anyone life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This has been interpreted to protect substantive, fundamental rights. The facts of the case are simple. Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a black woman, fell in love and decided to get married. But in their home state of Virginia, interracial marriage was illegal. So they went to Washington, D.C. to get married and then returned to Virginia. However, they were arrested for breaking Virginia's Racial Integrity Act of 1924. The Lovings were convicted and sentenced to 1 year in prison. However, the judge suspended their sentence for 25 years on the condition that they leave Virginia and not return together for 25 years. The Lovings moved to D.C., but eventually decided to challenge the constitutionality of the law. The Supreme Court first held that the Equal Protection Clause invalidated the Virginia law. The court held that if a state passes a law that distinguishes based upon race, the court will apply strict scrutiny of the law. The law will only be allowed if there is some legitimate overriding purpose. Here, it failed under that heightened standard. The Supreme Court next held that the Due Process Clause invalidated the Virginia law. The court held that mankind has a fundamental right to marriage, which means the freedom to choose your partner without state interference or state preference for your partner's race. Here, the Virginia law impaired that fundamental right and therefore violated the Due Process Clause. The court ruled the law unconstitutional unanimously with no dissents. The impact of Loving versus Virginia was monumental. It struck down laws banning interracial marriage across the country, marking a significant victory for the civil rights movement. The case's important holdings have been repeatedly reaffirmed ever since. The principle that marriage is a fundamental right, and that laws which discriminate based on race are inherently suspect and subject to the most rigorous scrutiny. Notably, this case continues to be cited in cases involving marriage and family rights, including the landmark 2015 case Obergefell versus Hodges, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. If you like what you just saw and want to see more just like it, please hit like or subscribe to let me know.